Hey, how you doing, guys? Today we're going to do a walkthrough on how you can install Docker in Ubuntu. The first thing I'm going to do is check my version of Ubuntu, just so we could have that as a reference for when I go over to the installation page. So I'm going to type in lsb_release -d. And you can see here I'm running Ubuntu 20.04.1 LTS. I believe it's the latest one, but definitely the one of the current releases. But now that I have this information, I'm going to go over to the Docker installation page. So I fire up Firefox here. Okay. And I'm going to get to the installation page by simply Googling installing Docker on Ubuntu. Okay. Alright, so this is from docs.docker.com. So this is the official Docker website and documentation. This looks like what we want. And as you can see, it already drops us in on the part of the installation documentation that pertains to Ubuntu. Alright, if you go over a quick glance of the requirements, you can see that they list about 4 releases of Ubuntu that you need, that you must fall within in order for this documentation on how to install Docker to be applicable to you. So to install Docker Engine, you need a 64-bit version of one of these Ubuntu versions. So you have Ubuntu Focal 20.04, that's the one I have, latest one. Ubuntu Eon 19.10, Ubuntu Bionic 18.04, Ubuntu Xenial 16.04. And I guess these are just like different branches of the distro release, right? Different flavors, I guess, but it's not important. So I'm going to scroll down to the installation methods. Okay, so we're going to do this one, right? Most users set up Docker repositories installed from them for ease of installation upgrade tasks. This is the recommended approach. So we're going to go with this one because if we go from this one, we're directly downloading from Docker's repository. They maintain it, all the latest pushes to the repository and fixes. It's going to be most immediate if we take this method, right? Alright, so scrolling down some more, excuse me, sorry. We're going to first update apt-get so that we have all the latest mirrors. Make sure everything is updated before we go ahead and try to install stuff. So I'm going to run over to my terminal. Okay. And it's going to be a few seconds here before it finishes. Okay, so it's finished. We're all updated. Okay, and then I'm just going to copy and paste this section, making sure that I get the backslashes, right? Okay. And then I'm going to hit Y, of course. So that basically installed some prerequisite packages in order for us to be able to go forward in the installation. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add Docker's official GPG key. You don't really need to worry too much what this is, but basically it's a sort of not sort of, it's a cryptographic method for making sure that we're downloading the intended version or intended package and not something that has been tampered with. It's a security mechanism, basically. Okay, so I'm going to paste that in. Okay. Wait, do I need sudo? No, I don't. Okay. Yes, it's already copied and pasted in there. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to hit enter. Alright, that's good. We got an OK. It's added. That key is added. Now it wants us to verify that you now have the key with the fingerprint. Alright. And this is the fingerprint that we're going to be looking for, I guess. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay. Alright. So we're going to go back just to walk through. Okay. Notice how they said the fingerprint. We're looking, this is the fingerprint that we're supposed to get. Alright. And if we double check in our terminal, we can see that it matches. It matches. So we're hooked up to the authentic repository. Now we're going on to step 3, and it says use the following command to set up the stable repository. To add the nightly or test repository, add the word nightly or test, or both after the word stable in the commands below. So I don't want the nightly or test repository. I want to go for the stable repository because the stable repository contains the version of Docker that's, like its name suggests, is most stable. The nightly and test are basically experimental releases. It's not fully vetted and it's not considered stable, right? So you shouldn't be interested in these two. You want the stable one, especially if you're just trying to start learning Docker. You want a stable release so that you can trust the CLI and Docker, etc. Docker's not making any mistakes. It's most likely you, right? So let's copy and paste this in again to get the slash, because this command spans multiple lines. The slash, basically the backslash, basically tells bash that it's a continuation, even though it spans multiple lines, right? So stable. Okay. Alright, so we're hooked up for the stable repository. And I'm just going to, again, run this command, so the apt-get update. I know we did it before, but we're going to do it one more time. So I believe we were adding repositories. Okay. And then we do this one. And this is the one that will install Docker for us. hit enter. Excuse me. Alright, so it's downloading, and it'll be finished shortly, and I think we should be ready to go. And the rest of the instructions pertains to installing specific versions of Docker. But this last command up here should get you Docker and be ready to go. If you're interested in specific versions, then you would continue with the rest of the instructions down here. Okay, let's now test it. Or this Docker. There we go. We have the Docker CLI running. So Docker's installed. Right? Fully installed on our system. Now there's one more thing that you'd want to do to set Docker up, right? You don't want to have to be constantly doing sudo docker run hello world, or use sudo before Docker every time. So what you need to do is you go down, scroll down, and you see there is a Linux post install, right? You click over here, and it allows you to manage Docker as a non-root user. Okay, so we're going to create a Docker group. Okay, wow, that group already exists. Let's see, hold on. Nope, so I'm not in that group, but it seemed like the installation created a Docker group for us. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this portion, which would add myself to the Docker group, and that would enable me to be able to use Docker without the sudo command. Okay, and I'm going to do another ID, and pipe it to grep, and I'm going to be looking for Docker. Okay. So I don't see myself in the Docker group. I think that's because I'd have to log out and log back in. But there's another way you can check to make sure that you're part of the Docker groups. Cat etc group. Okay. There you go. So here's, and by the way, the command I just put is cat etc group. It's a list of all the groups on your Linux system. And you can see my username here, so I'm part of that group. Okay, so Docker's good. We're going to run one last command just to verify everything is going okay. And I'm going to go back one page, and I'm going to look for the Docker run hello world, right? Copy and paste that in. got a permission denied. I'd have to log out again, but let's do this. Sudo. Okay. Good. So this verifies that everything works fine. Okay. Alright guys, that's it. That's the walkthrough for installing Docker on your Ubuntu system. Hope you have a good one. Make sure to like and comment. Much appreciated. Thank you.